honky tonkin', honky tonkin'. Yeah, we'll go honky tonkin', honky tonkin'. We are in studio with my friend Jamie O'Neill. How are you?
So glad to be here. I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
It's good to see you. So we're going to
Good to see
play
you.
a bunch of your songs today, and you've got a new Christmas album coming out very soon, already out
Yes,
possibly.
It's out now.
It's out right now, called Spirit and Joy.
Cool. So we're going to be playing some songs from the
Thank
Christmas
you.
album in the last hour. So get to chat a whole lot. What's been going on in your world? Well, let's
my
talk about
goodness.
Patrick's just jumped right on in
I'm
there.
sorry. I'm just.
So we
I didn't
talked a
wanna
few
go
episodes
too
back
far.
about going to. We played the distillery in Kentucky. What would you
Dant
say?
Crossing.
Dant Crossing.
Yeah.
And you opened the facility up this year.
We did.
And
the
I
first weekend, it was absolutely incredible. And of course, we drank too much. We got a tour of the beautiful facility, and I mean, you can stay there. You can, enjoy their alcohol. The setting is just so gorgeous, and the history.
And
like
the
you were
history of it,
talking
just
about.
great. And I think, just a great clientele of people. So I told Wally that I would, Wally is the owner and the distiller there, so I told him that we would talk about some of his beautiful products. So a few shows back, we drank a small batch Kentucky straight bourbon. So it is bottled and made in Kentucky, and this is a bourbon called Monk's Road. And we were having a sample of their Tennessee distilled, bottled in Kentucky, Rattle and Snap.
Rattle and Snap. This is not, by the way, a paid sponsorship.
No, this is
we
not.
just drink whiskey
No.
people give us.
I took a sip, and I'm already rattled.
All right, here we go.
Snap to it, come on.
That's what
Snap,
we do.
crackle, and pop. Here we go.
But
Which one do
so-
y'all want to be?
I'll be Crackle.
I was about to say, am
I'm
I
gonna be
a snap? Or,
I think
no.
I'm Snap.
Okay,
That leaves you with Pop.
Sorry, Pop. But you
That's
are.
where, you know what? That
are a
kind
new
of
Pop.
works. Yeah, I am a new Pop.
There you
That works
go.
for me.
It
I'm
really
a Pop.
does. Yep.
Yeah, sure.
You
So-
know, we're so blessed as we travel around. We get to play some amazing venues.
I
And
know.
so, what's one of the
Very
coolest
lucky.
places that you played over the years?
Well,
Winery?
definitely
or-
Dant Crossing. Well,
Yeah.
any winery.
Yeah,
I mean,
I know. Yeah.
I have not met a Pinot Noir I don't like. So any kind of winery, and I mean, how many great venues are there across the country of outdoor venues?
Just wonderful.
You know, I love going up to Oregon. I love Washington State. My family's from Washington State. So, of course, playing the fairs means a lot to me. The Red Rocks, I mean,
Oh, my amphitheater, absolutely, outside of
Yes.
Denver.
that sticks in my mind and forever will as one of the greats out there.
So, I used to play a place in San Diego called Humphreys down in the Bay. Did you ever play it?
I don't think so.
So it was, and I haven't played it in years, and I guess they stopped doing country there.
Oh,
But
that's
it's
too
right
bad.
on the water, and they had a little stage, kind of a theater, and there was a big hotel. It was like 9, 10 stories tall, and so all the rooms on that side of it, they had balconies on them, so people would rent the rooms and to be able to come out on the balcony. I don't know if the whole property was one, but it was one of my favorite places to play because people would pull all the boats up there right beside.
Oh, I
and,
love that.
And it was really
yeah.
cool, you know.
Well, the Holiday Inn Resort in Panama City Beach is kind of the same way. There isn't a bad view because all of the rooms are all facing the ocean, and your back's to the ocean. So you've got, and everybody can hear you. The PA is amazing. I love the beach venues. We got to love that.
Anytime you can put your toes in the sand and have a glass of Pinot, I mean, what's wrong with that?
There you go. I'm all about it.
Oh, goodness. So There Is No Arizona? Is that what we're playing?
Yeah.
Yes. This was probably your biggest record, right?
It definitely was a great kickstart
Yeah.
to everything, and it's one of those memorable songs that luckily you can say the title and most people know it. So
Right.
we can't ask for more than that, and it's weird because I'm so in love with so much of Arizona, especially Sedona. I have a soft spot in my heart for that place, but yet I'm singing about it not being there, so it is quite confusing. But I love going back, like to Lucky Pocky and walking around and checking everything out. It's like one of my favorite places. And I'm doing something cool for that song coming up next year.
So do you change the arrangement on the older songs a little bit? You had solos. You do restructuring at times. Anything
I do a
different with it?
mashup with that song in
Really?
Hotel California.
Wow.
Oh, that's interesting.
Very
yeah, it's one of my
interesting.
favorite things to do. We keep the groove going, and it works really well.
It's kind of got that haunting vibe to it, just like Hotel California does.
Yeah,
I can
thank
see.
you.
I can see how that works.
Thank you.
That's very cool. Here's Jamie O'Neill. There Is No Arizona. My friend Miss Pam Tillis You know Pam? You ever
Oh, I
worked with her?
love Pam.
I love Pam.
She's one of my favorite people. She's the sweetest.
She is a cool lady, and I love running into her at the antique store. She's a very eclectic person. She
Yeah.
really is. She's so cool.
She is.
So I didn't realize you were Italian.
Well, I'm partially Italian. My left hand is Italian.
So have you spent any time over in Italy?
I have. I went to Venice years ago, and I didn't want to leave. I really didn't want. It's one of my favorite places I've ever been, and I love Italian food. So there must be some Italian in there somewhere.
Oh,
Because that is
absolutely.
like, if anybody says, "What food could you eat for the rest of your life?" One of those, like, if you went to an island, what would you take? Mine's always like a vat of pasta.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Come on.
Then you
A
can just
bottle of
find stuff
wine.
to put on it, and it'll be great. You know.
Yeah, Italian wine.
Okay, but
there you go.
now you're Australian, right? Mm-hmm. But you don't have like a really noticeable Australian accent.
I like to be as confusing as possible. Geographically challenged with the Arizona and the trying to find Atlantis. No accent, born in Australia, raised in the States. That's all I
Okay.
can. That's as quickly as I
So
can
when
say
did you
it.
move to the States? When you
At
were-
2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But
So-
then, see, I went back there. I was touring with Kylie Minogue and singing background vocals, and we were touring the world. So I went back there and started touring around and was based out of Australia for another, 9 years. So when I did come back in 1996, it was from Australia. So that's what the confusion is. A lot of people will introduce me
yeah.
as Australian, and then I have zero accent.
When I remember when you first broke, there is no Arizona. They told us, and she's from Australia, and then it was like,
Eh?
but you don't sound like
Right.
Keith Urban. You don't have that whole thing.
And
that
then-
was really bad, actually.
That
Just
was very
yeah,
bad,
oh,
Patrick.
well.
You need to try that again.
It's urban.
Urban,
Keith
Keith Urban.
Urban.
Keith Eben. My family and I went to Italy last year and spent a couple of weeks there, and we've already got 3 weeks planned this next year to go back. I fell in love with the place, absolutely.
What was
Just
it like after the pandemic? Was it very not as crowded or more crowded?
It was very crowded. The only issue, we went in the summertime. They still you have to wear a mask on the trains, but that was it. But we did we did a big overview, so we were moving every couple of days. So we tried to see as much as we could. This time we're going back. We're going to stay a week here and 3-4 days here,
Yeah.
and then a week we're going to finish up in Lake Como and stay a week at Lake Como.
At George's place, of course.
Yeah, we're buddies. I talk to him
Yeah.
every week. Yeah, yeah.
But that's the way to do it. I mean, and I don't know if you're crazy enough. You probably are. Rent a car.
That's what I'm gonna do.
My friends went over there and they rented this little bitty car, and I'm like, you are
That's all they
very
have.
brave.
Yeah, and it's all, a lot
On
of
those
Fiats
little-
and stuff.
yeah.
But I've driven in Australia. I've driven in Sydney.
On the wrong
the
side.
wrong side of the road, and the roundabouts with no red lights.
roundabouts, oh
See,
my-
at
then you can
least,
do it, you
At
can do
least
it.
in Italy, everything's on the right side of the road. And I
That's true.
did, when we were going through, I was paying attention to the street. I've got it. I can
Yeah.
navigate it.
Well,
Okay.
didn't you have problems with there's like a taxi strike or something like that?
Oh, and yeah, they're on
So,
strike all the time. But
yeah, so-
the strikes in Italy are very strange. It's like, okay, tomorrow the cabs and all the public services will be on strike for 3 days. So we're just letting you know. And they just go on strike.
they tell us.
And,
Yeah.
and then they stop and they go back to work. It's
Yeah.
not like we're going on strike till we get what we want. That's
Yeah,
what
it's
they do
not
over
6
here.
months of striking,
No.
right? Exactly. It's just very inconvenient temporarily.
Yeah.
Like I was just in London after the Queen's, right and around the Queen's death and the funeral, and it was like, oh no, you can't go here and you can't go there, and all the bridges and tunnels are closed. And I'm like, what? You can't get an Uber, you can't get a taxi. We walked so much I couldn't even feel my feet.
Oh,
it was
my gosh.
crazy, but. I agree with you. The strike thing is a totally different thing. So
is
good
a
luck with that. I want you to film yourself driving on those roads because I got to see that.
I got it.
With those little mounts up there, it should be like a good reality
That way,
show.
if I have a wreck, then I'll at least can document it.
Oh, that's a great thing to put out there.
Yeah,
in the
just throw that out there.
universe.
I did
Fabulous.
notice. I did notice this. We were coming back from Sorrento, going to Naples to catch a flight, going to a different part. And we had last year when we went, we had a shuttle service, so we had a driver taking care of us. Every car that passed us on the freeway was banged up on the driver's side. All of them. Every one of them. Like the bumper was dented, or the driver's door was dented, or the mirror was knocked off. It's like these people run into each other all the time because the roads are like that wide.
Right.
And there's
exactly.
full size buses running
I don't
down
even know
them,
if they
too.
paint lines down the road. They just
They
go.
just go.
They just go.
They just go. There's no. It's just. It's like insane. But I drive. My wife says I drive that way anyway. Every time she gets in the vehicle with me, she says, "I don't know how you make it back and forth to town without dying."
That's
know.
a frightening thought.
And I said, "How come it only bothers you? I mean, I have no problems, none
Yeah.
whatsoever. I just don't understand."
Yeah, well, wait till you get over there. You might have a problem or two, I'd say.
On them tiny little roads, Tracy.
When I think about angels, I think about you, though.
Thank you,
I
darling.
do. I do. And I might need some when I go over there. So tell me about this song,
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to send them up for you.
please.
This song was written with Roxy Dean and Sonny Tillis, one of Mel Jr., one of my favorite people and songwriters and just people to be around. He made me laugh so hard. We used to write once a week back in the day, and Roxy and I were dating our now husbands at the time, so we were totally obsessed. Total different story now, 25 years later. But anyway, now it's like, how can I miss you if you won't go away? But at the time, everything reminded us of our boyfriends, you know, and that's how we got to talking about, oh, this restaurant reminds me of him, and this cologne reminds me of him, and you know, so that's how it started. When I think about, we started talking about that, and then it just kind of went from there. And I love the rain. My family lived in Bellingham for many years outside Seattle, and so the rain to me is one of the things that makes me feel good. Most people are like, "Oh, rain, it's depressing. It's this." For me, I fall in love with the rain. I feel cozy, and I'll drive in it. I'll go out in it. I don't care.
Wow. Jamie O'Neill, when I think about angels. In the studio with Jamie O'Neill. So Shiver, this was the title track off your first album?
Yes.
What year was this released?
2000 and
2000.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's the title track again, kind of inspired by my husband, I guess. Newlyweds, what are you going to do? It's disgusting. You know, now it's just like,
How long have you been
How
married?
can I miss you if you don't go away?
hear you. Yeah, from the other room.
I never
right?
realized until I've only been married the second time, 3 years now, and I didn't realize until a couple months ago that a lot of being married is just yelling "what" from other rooms. That's what it is.
But is there anything more annoying? Whereas if when you're dating and they yell out your name, you're like, "Yes, honey." What was that? And now it's just like, what?
What?
That goes all over you. He hates me calling out his name too. It goes both ways.
My wife is very soft spoken, and she talks about this level, and she talks to me like that from like 45 feet away behind a wall. Did you see those? No,
I can't hear
What are
you.
you saying?
Do you realize I wear headphones for a living?
If I have been wearing headphones since I was 15 years old, I don't know what we're doing.
Bless your heart.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Well, I'm telling you, we got our last daughter into college, and my wife and I have been like newlyweds again. It's been awesome. So
That's
it
sweet.
can happen again. I don't know how long it's going to last.
We have one. Exactly. Well, hopefully
was
at
a
least
dose
through
of truth right there.
Italy trip is all I can say. The Italian trip needs to be romantic. you know.
Absolutely. Well,
But
we're taking
we
the
have an
kids,
empty
so
nest.
we're going to have some.
Oh, yeah, separate rooms. I hope not all in one like a
No,
like
we've
a
rented
Disney
houses.
bunk thing.
No, we've
okay.
rented houses.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I might even have to join you on this with the Pinot
on.
Noir. I'm coming.
Come on.
But we have one daughter, and so you know she goes off to college, and my husband said, "I think I may have to get a cat. I may have to get a Mr. Whiskers." And I said, "I'm allergic to cats. We're not getting a cat because our daughter went to college. We have 3 dogs. The man is crazy. He's looking up things that he can adopt."
Tell him to watch the movie called Failure to Launch. There's a scene where Terry Bradshaw is in
I
the
know
naked
that,
room.
yes.
Yeah, that's what I threatened my wife with. I said, "You keep on, we'll get me a naked room."
Give me a naked room.
Don't make me.
I'm going to put a fish tank in there. I'm telling you, I'm going to walk around naked all the time.
The sad part is he's not kidding.
I'm not
He would
kidding.
Tracy, if his wife would let him, would have a naked room in his house
We've
right now.
gotten completely off the subject of this beautiful song.
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
my
right.
husband,
So
by the
the
way,
song
would
you
not
wrote.
do a naked room because I keep it so cold in the house that he would freeze. And it would be very uncomfortable for him in many, many ways.
Wow. You're the only woman I've ever met that keeps the house colder than your husband wants it to be.
Oh, he
It's usually
is,
us. Like Tracy and I both, you could hang meat
Oh,
in
I
my
get
house if I
cold.
lived alone.
Oh, me too. It's
65.
like 67. Perfect.
I'm good
The
with that.
man he wears his North Face coat to bed. I'm not kidding. So naked room is not going to work for this man.
No.
No.
I don't think so.
Well,
Well.
okay,
That's-
back to the music.
Okay,
Let's talk
so,
about the
yeah,
music.
Shiver.
Yes, here we
Now
go.
I get what it's about. The
Songs.
poor guy.
He's been shivering since 1999.
I don't know how we recover from that.
There's been shrinkage since 1990.
I think we're going to play. Here's Jamie O'Neill and Shiver. Larry Gatlin and the Gatlin Brothers. There you go. So our friend Martina McBride has been out with Winona, and they are doing the Judd's farewell tour. Have you seen it? I know it was just.
I saw it on the last show in Lexington, Kentucky. It was absolutely incredible from start to finish. I mean, Martina opened
Yeah.
the show, which brought the house down. And, she really means a lot to me because I listened to her records back when I was living in Australia in my 20s. I listened and was just like her belting her songs that were story songs, but they really went somewhere and just lifted to this otherworldly place and then came back down. She's such an emotional singer and one of those singers that you believe every word, and that's always super important to me. And then just to be able to be honored enough to go on the road with her, learning from her, watching her night after night, becoming friends. And I feel like she's one of those mentor kind of people that you feel like you can talk to and ask questions about anying. You know what I mean? She's
Very
just very
sweet lady.
sweet.
She is,
Very
and
giving.
had such an amazing career. I know. So let's pick a song of Martina's maybe that was a huge influence on you, big impact on you.
I really love the song. I mean, so many of hers I love, but I love "Blessed" because of what it says, and it's just like your family is everything. Once you have kids, once you, start your own family, I guess, everything's on top of that is just cherry on the cake.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Here's Martina McBride and Blessed. In studio, Miss Jamie O'Neill. So, I'm a big conspiracy theorist.
No,
I believe,
nothing good is going to come
I
after the
believe
start us in that
I have
sentence.
been down so many rabbit holes, and I have looked up so many things about where Atlantis might be. It could be in the Arctic Circle, but I really believe it's in the Caribbean somewhere. What do you think? Yeah.
I think it's deep, deep, deep down somewhere we're never gonna find.
You don't think?
I think it's under Antarctica, under the ice.
You do?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When the planet shifted and did
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think the Earth is flat, so.
Like,
Hey, you and my husband
You
need
know
to
what?
talk.
Tracy doesn't really think the Earth is flat, but then again, he's not sure.
I just love the
Did we go
shock
to the moon?
factor.
Did we go to the moon?
No, we didn't go to the moon. No.
Really?
We
No.
will talk about that too.
No,
yes.
we did not. I tell you, I've been
and
down
my
all the
husband
rabbit
are
holes.
very.
I've been
yeah.
down all of them.
Oh,
Right.
man, don't ask him about
Oh.
aliens. Don't ask him about aliens.
I guess
Don't-
my question is, why
aliens-
haven't we been back? If we went before.
Because the Van Allen radiation belt, we've never been through it because it would burn up
Yeah.
everything. We didn't even have the technology back then. It's not possible.
Are we going to be edited out on this? Because this is
No,
This
no.
is very
He has to tolerate me
interesting to me.
sometimes. He has to
Very
tolerate me.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
No,
just Tracy.
yeah.
You get Tracy going, and you get a couple sips of whiskey, and then he wants to talk about aliens and flat Earth. And
Oh my gosh! I got to bring
Bigfoot.
Rodney
Don't
next
even get him
time.
going on Bigfoot.
Oh my God,
Oh.
Bigfoot! Yes.
Oh yeah, he believes.
Yes.
Especially living out in Washington, surely you saw Bigfoot at least once.
I didn't see him, but who's the guy that did the original documentary? I worked with the guy.
Yes, what was his name?
I don't know. The guy who got the film of
Yeah,
Bigfoot.
The
Yeah.
film, yes.
Yeah, yes.
The original. Anyway, he was 99 years old. He wasn't that old, but he was pretty old. And my husband and I were doing something, and he was one of the guest speakers as well as us performing and everything. And you would have thought he was Madonna when Rodney, his foot caught getting up from the table, going over to meet him. So he actually landed partially in the guy's lap.
He got so excited.
He got so excited and nearly broke his hip. I mean, this was like so embarrassing. Sir, I'm so sorry. And he said, I just got to ask you about Bigfoot. And the guy was, eh? So, I mean, but it made Rodney's life to meet him. So,
Have you ever played Roswell? Have you ever been down there to the Alien Festival?
no.
You need to do that. It's pretty amazing. I have. I got my picture out by the Roswell city limit sign. We went to the museum.
I think we did go to a museum,
Yeah.
but I don't know if it's Roswell, but I know exactly, like, what you're talking about.
You got to do those
Very
things.
interesting.
It's yeah. Who knows? I don't know.
The Bigfoot Museum, I sat in the car and waited for Rod to come out. I'm like, how long do you think you're going to be on
I
this
think
journey?
we're talking about the Patterson film. Is that
Yes,
it?
the
That's
Patterson-
it.
that's
Yes.
Yes,
the
we are.
Patterson.
Yes.
That's
See, all I wanted to talk about was Atlantis, and then we got all off on this other
But
stuff.
that's the way it goes.
know, that's
I
what
mean,
happens.
the funny thing about this song is there was a bridge in it originally, and it talked about going to the Bermuda Triangle, and I ended up taking the bridge out. I'm just like that. It went a little too quirky for me at that point. But it did mention that, and that's another thing that is very mysterious, isn't it? The Bermuda Triangle. I mean,
absolutely.
how do you,
Like there was a whole flight squadron. There was a whole flight squadron that disappeared, like that went out on a normal mission and never got found again.
I know.
I mean, there's been a lot of stuff down there.
Yeah.
And I've been all over the Caribbean. but I ain't going nowhere. There was a television series called The Land of the Lost. You remember that?
Oh yeah, of course.
Oh, and there was all that stuff. I know. Yes, we don't need to talk about all that. That's crazy stuff.
Well, we do have the Atlantis Resort.
And I like that, and they kind of prop all that stuff up, you know.
Yes.
It's actually pretty easy to find, though. You just
Yes,
get
in
on
Nassau.
Google.
Yeah.
and-
Yeah, we just did. We did a giveaway, which I think is a fabulous giveaway for a contest winner at the Cherokee Casino that I played, and the lucky winner is going to the Atlantis Resort. What a great place! Have you guys been there?
I have not.
I
no.
have.
If that's Atlantis, yeah, we've partially found it. It's incredible.
It's not the real thing.
No, but there's a lot going on there, and they got a casino.
And they got an aquarium and these big water slides and all this
know.
stuff.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
it's pretty cool.
goodness.
Yeah.
It's a lot to do.
Jamie O'Neill, Trying to Find Atlantis. In the studio with Miss Jamie O'Neill.
I love that song.
Thank you.
Oh,
it was a good
my
record.
gosh.
I'm
Incredible.
enjoying our conversation today. We've been all
Yeah.
over the place.
We've really been all over the map,
know.
as they say.
It's a good thing, though. Sometimes it's good to kind of spread the boundaries out and just enjoy conversation.
Exactly.
So, what do you do for the holidays? What I know that we're going to talk about some of your holiday dates coming up, but personal time. Do you kind of shut the world off? Do you go visit family? Do you drive somewhere? What do you do for the
We
holidays?
do a little bit of all that you mentioned. I make my once a year recipe of roast potatoes, and we go to East Tennessee usually. My husband's mom passed away in 2015, and that kind of stopped us from doing what we would always do, which is always going to East Tennessee to be with her because his family's so large. So now we kind of do a little bit of both. We stay here with my family's all here, and my mom actually lives in Australia, so I don't get to see her. But yeah, we do a little bit of everything. See the family. We always sing karaoke, which drives my husband crazy.
Really?
He
That's
is
awesome.
so over that. He's like the Murphy family, and their karaoke has got to stop.
So, what's your go-to karaoke song?
Well, I do a lot. I try to do some funny ones sometimes, but I do love singing like Amy Winehouse or something that I wouldn't normally sing. Like,
Awesome.
and I'll read the lyrics and not just sing something that's comfortable that I've been
Right.
singing,
Yeah.
but kind of stretch out beyond
So,
that and do
Back
something
to
new.
Black or a little more obscure stuff?
Oh, look at you
I
dropping.
love Back to Black. Yeah, look at
Yeah,
him.
he's showing
He
you
is
he
so
knows
well
it.
versed.
I
Amy
know.
Winehouse is.
From Italian Roads to
know,
Amy
right.
Winehouse.
What's your go-to karaoke song, Tracy Lawrence?
And don't mention one of your own,
I
because that's
know.
just.
I don't know. I don't know. I'll do some Leonard Skinner.
Yeah, that's
I
cool.
like doing that.
He
Yeah.
likes singing.
Yeah.
He likes singing "Troubadour" by George Strait.
I do,
And,
but I need to broaden myself. The only time I really do karaoke is when I get on a cruise ship. That's when I think it's the funniest because I'm usually
It's
hammered.
hilarious. Yes.
And
I get
everybody
the drink
knows you
package
by,
and-
by
yeah.
a couple days in,
Yeah.
and you feel completely comfortable with the guests and everything, so you just let it all hang
Yeah,
out. I know
well,
exactly what you're
yeah, by
talking
the
about.
time
I've
you
been
get
on a
there-
cruise with you
We did
years
the country.
ago. Yeah.
Which one was it?
Darned if I can remember,
y'all,
Tracy.
No way
I
y'all
know.
remember.
I know.
You kidding me? It's all a blur. You know what
After
I
all the
mean? But it's
wine
been
we
a-
drank since then.
It's
I
been
tell
a
you,
few years.
You get 7 or 8 drinks in me, and I do a mean "Shake It Off" by Taylor Swift, and nobody ever sees it coming.
Oh,
Nobody ever
that's-
expects a big
yeah.
fat white guy to bust out Taylor Swift. But
I kind
can
of need
sing.
to. I need to see that.
Do
I
you,
think.
do you tie your
Oh.
halter top up and everything?
I don't even have to. I don't have to. My clothes are tight enough. Listen, it's great. Okay, I dance a little bit. I'm out of breath by the end of it. It's a whole thing.
So
Let's change the subject.
So I remember looking back in school. I had a history teacher that was my hero that I thought was one of the greatest teachers ever, and I had a baseball coach that I idolized and looked up to so much. So where did this song come from? Who are your heroes from your childhood?
Well, I just had a baby. My baby's 19 now, and my co-writers, I was like, I want to write a song about being a mom. I mean, having this baby look up to me and feeling like I wanted to be the best mom possible for her, and it's a heavy weight, and you're like, I just don't want to mess up. What am I going to do,
Yeah.
And so I wanted to write a kind of a tribute to moms and babies and just motherhood. And I wrote it with Shay Smith and Ed Hill. And when we did the video for the song, my daughter was in it, and she was like a toddler. And then she and I recorded it in 2020 together. So it came full circle where we did it as a duet. And I've been through some of those things, of watching her grow up. She's not married, thankfully. She's in college. But it took on a new meaning for me now that I've been through some of those motherhood things. It's, from baby to young adulthood.
Yeah, it's an amazing journey to watch them grow, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's hard. It's tough.
And you know, I remember when my wife and I started planning our family, we had it all figured out. We'd lay in bed at nights like, we're not going to make the same mistakes our parents did. We're not going to do this or this or this. And then they show up and they have a mind of their own, and all you can do is kind of put the bumpers up like a bowling alley and just kind of keep them in the lane. That's all you can do.
Exactly.
That's it.
Yeah. There's a few gutter ball Gerties going on.
Here's
But
Jamie
yeah.
O'Neill and Somebody's Hero. In studio with Jamie O'Neill. So when we were raising our kids, we were talking about a bunch of stuff off the air. So my kids we did piano lessons, drum lessons, guitar lessons, and vocal lessons, and all that. But they wound up doing a whole lot more dance. They loved the dance thing a lot more. So, but I still think that was a healthy foundation. With your daughter,
Absolutely.
what musical things? What were the things that you got her into? Did she play an instrument? Did you develop her along as she was growing up?
Well, as a baby, she was in her, pack and play in the back, bolted in on the bus. And so at about 3 years old, she kept saying, I want to sing, Mama, I want to sing. And so we were like, okay. So she came out and did Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. And that started it. Once they get that applause and they get the reaction, it's like, I don't want to stop. I was that way too when I was 8 when I started. So then she kind of went from there and sang with us all the time and started playing guitar. And then that went into I think Taylor Swift is a huge mentor for every singer-songwriter, young girl that's out there. And so she started doing Taylor Swift songs and writing her own music. And she just put out a song. So that's really cool for me. It's a dream come true to watch music be like therapy for her, that she can go to her guitar and, cry her heart out if she needs to or whatever she wants to sing about. But, yeah, we were talking about college, and I just said, I didn't go. So if you want to do music, if that's where your heart is, put a band together, get in a van, go start doing it. There's no secret recipe, right, for doing music. You have to take all the steps that it takes, including writing your own songs and getting out there and just doing it.
And there's no magic pill that helps you avoid all that. Every journey is completely different for everybody, whether it's a band path or a solo path. And the trick is it's the relationships and the opportunities that you come across along the way that hone and shape you and kind of guide your path. The decisions you make when you hit the forks in the road. Every journey is completely different. Nobody's path is the same.
Oh, totally.
It's an amazing thing. And I think as you develop as a songwriter too, you take all those little things, the little bits and pieces and the people that you've encountered and the little philosophical things that you've learned along the way. That all becomes part of your songwriting.
Absolutely.
Thing. It's just an amazing journey.
And when you're so young, too, you don't really know even what genre you're in. You're just writing for the love of it and singing for the love of it, which is, to me, the coolest thing, because I feel like Aaliyah, even with this song, she doesn't know if she's country. She doesn't know if she's pop. She's just doing what she loves and writing what she feels,
So I know you still write a whole lot. How old were you when you wrote your first song?
17.
Really?
I got some advice that, anyone can record other people's songs, but to put your stamp on what you want to say and make your music distinctive, and to get heard, you really need to write. And I was like, oh man, what do I do? And this person who was Bobby Columbia, who used to be in like Blood, Sweat, and Tears, and he worked at a label, and a friend of mine was dating him. He said, look anywhere. As a songwriter, you'll see things if you start thinking like a songwriter. Might be a movie or a bumper sticker or a billboard or whatever. Just start looking, start listening, and turn the radio off when you're in the car so a melody will come to you. And that's what I did.
That's awesome. Yeah. That is great advice to all the young songwriters out there.
Yeah.
Speaking of the young songwriters and performers out there, this is where we got to remind you that the show is brought to you by Pickle Jar.
Let me do my thing. Come on, you remind me.
Yeah, get Tracy.
If you love music, you need to download the Pickle Jar app. Show gratitude to your favorite artists and support great causes in your hometown. Plus, you can watch exclusive content you can't find anywhere else. Download at picklejar.com.
That's right. But if you're an artist, if you're a musician or singer, you should get the Pickle Jar app and set up your account. That way, when you're playing shows, people can tip you, people can follow you. It's like social media for music.
And 100% of it goes to the artist.
That's right. So, it's really cool. Don't you wish you'd had that coming up playing in bars and stuff?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I know. They didn't have that back then, but we have it now. So go and get it at picklejar.com.
Boom. In the studio with Jamie O'Neill. So we are going to shift to a little holiday music.
Yeah.
She's got a new holiday record coming out. What's the title of the album?
Spirit and Joy.
Spirit and Joy.
Not spirits.
not spirits.
No, it
And
should have
joy.
been listened.
Spirit
Spirits and
and
joy.
joy.
Spirits
That's
and
actually a
joy.
pretty
That'd
good
be
name for a
y'all's
Halloween.
Christmas album,
Yeah, that's
right?
pretty good.
Spirit and Joy. So it is available right now. You can go find it on Spotify, Apple Music, all those places, the streaming
Amazon, you can
platforms,
order it.
Amazon. You can order a physical copy, all that good stuff. So we're going to go through a few things. Got one original thing and a couple of old standards. So Please Come Home for Christmas is personally one of my favorites. I think
Oh,
it's such a
yay.
great classic song. And I love a lot of the old classic stuff, big arrangement things. But what I find fascinating about them is everybody can put their spin on them. You can strip them down. You can orchestrate them with huge symphonies. You can jazz them up. I mean, Christmas songs are really fun to play around with.
They are.
How did you approach this?
Well, this was my husband's idea. This is his favorite Christmas song, and I love it too. And it's never been done as a duet. So he and I did it as a duet together, and it's kind of bluesy and it's got the harmonies and everything. We just had a blast. I mean, we fought in between takes. But doesn't every married couple after 26 years of working together nonstop?
So, what do you fight about in the studio? Do you fight about the way you sing the song with your little vocal inflections? I mean, what do you fight about?
Well, I think he is amazing at saying to me, I think you can get one better. I totally respect his ear because he's an incredible engineer and everything. But when he's singing and I'm engineering for him, which is what was happening, that's when he drives me crazy because he wants to sing it over and over and 26,000 times until I say, I'm done, and I go upstairs. And then he has to record himself, and press record and do it himself because I'm like, you're too hard on yourself. Let it go. Like, you know what I mean? I
Absolutely.
like to sing probably 4 passes
Amen.
and
3 or 4 passes
good night.
should be done. Yeah,
The
absolutely.
man is
Mic
allowed to be
drop.
hard on himself. The man recorded Charlie Pride and Waylon Jennings and,
Yeah.
a bunch of other, I get it. I would, I'd be hard on myself too.
Yeah, I think he's like holding himself up there though too hard where it's just about the soul and the feeling to me, and he'll nail it, and then he'll be like, but no, I
can
said
do it
that
with
word.
that
I can do it better, and it's just that drives me crazy. So we get into those kinds of arguments, really.
So, what was the overall theme of the project? I mean, did you do string arrangements on it? Is it what's the overall theme of the entire record?
Well, we recorded this in 2021. We tracked it in July, like everyone does. We
Yep.
decorated up the studio and Christmas, and we were going to put it out at the end of 2021. But my sister passed away unexpectedly, and I tried to start singing these songs, and some of them were so emotional for me that I couldn't do it. No, grief is like that when it's raw. It's at its the worst, hardest time.
Yeah.
So to me, it was like we already had some finished. So we went ahead and put out a couple of those. And then we mixed it with new ones that we recorded and new songs that I had written. And then like the Silver Bells with Colin Ray, that was a new addition to the album. So I think it's like I picked my favorite songs like White Christmas and I'll Be Home for Christmas and some of those classics that I love to sing and have been singing for years.
Yeah.
And then writing a couple of new ones, and then ones that Rodney loved, my husband. So,
Don't you love the way we weave all these emotional country songs in with the Christmas songs? Isn't that
I
great?
love
That's
it.
Johnny Lee, Picking Up Strangers. Did you ever do that at Christmas?
never did. Never.
No.
I love
Not
Johnny.
at a bar, not on the side of the road.
Johnny's a piece of work. I love him dearly. So
Let me tell you, we get a lot of people in here to drink whiskey with.
Yeah.
Johnny Lee outdrank me and Tracy.
well, if
can
he
believe it.
poured that much in Johnny's glass, and he looked at it and
he goes,
kind of handed it back
He handed
to
it
him.
back to me, and he literally looked at me and goes, you waiting for somebody else? No, sir. No, hold on. I'm gonna keep
Oh
pouring.
my gosh.
I'm telling you, I have found over the years that writing a really good Christmas song, a new Christmas song, is not an easy thing to do because you have a real small, kind of a trapped ideology of the whole concept of what Christmas is. How do you find great Christmas songs? Jeffrey Steele is he's a monster to me. I think he's one of the greatest artists, musicians, songwriters. I mean,
People.
he's just
Yeah,
he's a BA.
I know. He really is. He's amazing.
He is.
Well, I wanted some original Christmas songs on here as well, and I was writing, and I texted him and I said, "Hey, do you have any Christmas songs?" And he goes, "Not right now, but I'll write you one." And I was like, "Yeah, sure." He's gonna hang up or look at the phone and then put it down and forget. And an hour later, he goes, "I wrote you one."
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
there's not a lot of
I just
people who
whipped
can
that right up
actually
for you.
pull that off.
And the funny thing is, if I can say this, I said, "Oh my gosh, holy crap! That's why you get paid the big bucks." And he said, "That's how I roll, biatch."
All
Because
right,
he's
Merry
that good.
Christmas, everybody.
Can you just hear him saying that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, sorry,
Yeah,
but
that's all right.
Ah.
Yeah, we'll fix it in post.
Oh yeah, I think we got beeped on that one, but it's okay.
That's all
Okay,
good.
never mind.
That's
I
all
didn't
good.
know
No,
that
I mean,
if we put the A in there, I wasn't
No,
sure it
I
was
mean,
still a
that's
cuss
fine.
word. Well, so Jeff and I, we're good friends and we go way back. So we can talk to each other like that.
That's so great, though. But I mean, seriously, who else writes a Christmas song on a whim?
And it's called Christmas, and I think he managed to get everything in there: food, family, the baby Jesus,
Mm-hmm.
the reason that we all celebrate Christmas, and with an incredible melody. I'm like, how did you? Yeah, like
So there's no
to your
family fight.
point,
There's no family fighting in there.
there's no like, what's that supposed to mean? That happens at the end of the Christmas dinner. There was none of that in the song. It was just all sweet.
That's good. Well, I think we should play it.
Play it.
We are Honky Tonkin with Jamie O'Neill. What a great day I've had with you. This
Thank
is awesome.
you. Me too.
I always
It's been
enjoy
awesome.
sitting down and visiting with you. I think this has become one of my favorite things about this whole show that I've done is I actually get a chance to visit with my peers in a way that we don't do in passing at award shows and different things because we all
Yeah.
know each other, but
Right.
we really never take the time to get to know each other.
Absolutely.
And I really enjoy the time that we get together. So thank you for coming in and sharing some of yourself
Thank
with
you
us.
for having me on.
I'm always proud to hear new music. We're going to play one more song off your Spirit and Joy album, and it's an old classic. Why was this one of your favorite songs?
Well, I've always loved this song. And I love the way it kind of builds each verse. I mean, they're the same, but then they build all the way with the whole story. So by the end, you get the full story, And it's interesting to me that it was written because of the Cuban Missile Crisis. You know what I
What?
mean? Like
I
the
didn't know that.
songwriters were asked to write a commercial Christmas song, and they kind of looked at each other, I guess, and were like, what are we going to write about in the midst of all this pain? And they wanted to write a song about peace and a song about, change and praying for peace and that kind of thing. So it's got a little bit of that in there as well as telling the story. And I knew I wanted a song that my family could sing on. Unfortunately, a couple of my family members got sick with COVID right around the time when they were supposed to do the vocals. So on the song, though, is my dad and my sister and my daughter singing kind of answerings. So we tried to do it in a different way because it obviously has been done before.
Yeah.
But we put our own spin on it.
So, what is your favorite memory of your childhood Christmas? Was it a gift? Is it something, a relative that showed up you hadn't seen in a long time? What's one of your favorite
It
memories?
probably would have to be a relative showing up. I was very close to my grandparents who lived in Washington State, and we were in a family act. My mom, dad, my sister, and me, and we traveled everywhere. So our Christmases were spent on the road because when we weren't playing somewhere, we would park our RV at like a KOA campground or a campground somewhere and wait for the next fair, wait for the next show. And so my grandparents very rarely would come out to visit, but they would come at Christmas time. And we'd all like hang in the hotel.
Wow.
How
Santa
cool.
would come to the hotel.
He
I don't
always
know
knew
how he
where you
got into
were.
our hotel room. Well, yeah.
He always knew.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
always knew.
That's awesome. Here's Jamie O'Neill, and do you hear what I hear? What a great day. I've enjoyed it so
Fantastic.
much. I'm looking forward to next year and ready to get back out on the road. What does your tour schedule look like for next year? It's going to be a busy year.
Right now, we have a few shows on the books. I hope it's going to be a really busy year. I'm super excited because obviously 2022 was way better than 2021,
Yes.
which was a little bit better than 2020. So we're getting back there. And I think the fans are just really wanting to see live music again and really wanting to hear, artists from our era,
From
whatever
our
you want to
era,
call
yes.
it. Right.
I-
That's what I'm finding anyway.
Yeah, and any international stuff planned? You going to go over to Europe? You plan on going back to Australia or go to Canada? I mean,
This year, I got to go to Denmark and play the Nashville Nights Festival. It was absolutely incredible. If they have me back, I'll be there. Anytime I can go internationally, I love it. I'm like you. I love to see the world.
I
so.
love to see things.
Yeah.
Does your family get to travel with you still? You think your daughter will get to make some shows? I know she's in college, but that makes it difficult.
I pulled her out to go to Denmark. I pulled her out of college. She had to keep up online. But I definitely, for the summer, will have her out as much as I can. And then my husband plays for me.
Awesome.
So, and then, my sister sometimes sings with me. So it just depends on what the shows are.
That's awesome. Social media stuff, JamieO'Neal.com,
Absolutely.
Facebook, Twitter, all that
I'm
good
terrible
stuff.
on Twitter, but I'm on Instagram. I do like the old gram. And bands in town is always good to keep up with shows.
Jamie O'Neal, thank you so much.
Thanks,
Always good
Tracy.
seeing you. You know the deal between now and this time next week. Y'all keep her between the ditches, son. Honky tonkin', honky tonkin'. Yeah, we'll go honky tonkin',